The Braxton family just crossed a line nobody thought they'd ever come back from. This isn't a rumor. This isn't a quiet disagreement handled behind closed doors. This is a full-blown emotional collapse caught in real time, and at the center of it all is a house, a sister, and a decision so ruthless it left fans gasping. Because when Tamar Braxton allegedly took back the $50,000 home she once gave to Towanda, it didn't just break hearts. It detonated the entire family dynamic. Sources say Towanda didn't just find out. She was blindsided. One moment she believed she still had a safe place to land, and the next, she was staring at legal papers that made it painfully clear the house was no longer hers. No warning. No family meeting. No last chance. Just locks changed, paperwork finalized, and a reality so cold it sent her into a breakdown neighbors could hear. Witnesses claim she was crying, pacing, calling everyone in the family, and no one picked up. But here's where the story turns vicious. Insiders close to Tamar claim this wasn't cruelty. It was retaliation. Allegedly, Tamar discovered Towanda had been secretly renting out the very home meant to help her survive, collecting money behind the scenes while still asking Tamar for more support. To Tamar, it felt like betrayal layered on top of entitlement. And when Tamar feels used, she doesn't argue, she exits. Now the internet is on fire. Fans are choosing sides. Old clips are resurfacing. Family wounds are being reopened. And everyone is asking the same terrifying question: was this about money? Or was this about Tamar finally snapping after years of being taken for granted? Because once you hear what allegedly happened next, this story stops being sad and starts being savage. Before the locks were changed and before the internet picked a side, the fracture had already been widening for years. In this dramatized, gossip-driven account inspired by online chatter and resurfaced footage, the tension between Tamar and Towanda didn't begin with a house. It began with resentment that never healed and favors that never came without a price. Family insiders say Tamar had been carrying the weight of being the strong one for far too long, the sister who stepped in with money, resources, and solutions while swallowing her own hurt to keep the family afloat. When Towanda's life reportedly hit rock bottom, after financial troubles and personal setbacks, Tamar didn't hesitate. No cameras. No announcement. Just a quiet move that spoke volumes. A modest, but comfortable home purchased under Tamar's LLC. Taxes paid. Utilities handled. No rent required. The message was simple: get back on your feet. According to sources, Tamar believed this was sisterhood in its purest form. What she didn't know was that this gift would slowly turn into the most painful betrayal she'd ever face. At first, everything looked fine. Towanda settled in. The kids adjusted. Family members breathed easier knowing there was stability. But behind the scenes, something shifted. Tamar started noticing the same pattern she'd complained about for years. Subtle entitlement. Vague stories. Emergency calls that didn't quite add up. Requests for more help that felt endless. And according to insiders, Tamar brushed it off again and again, telling herself that family comes before pride. Then the whispers started. Not from enemies. From people Tamar trusted. Someone casually mentioned seeing unfamiliar faces going in and out of the house. Another hinted that the place had been busy on weekends. Tamar didn't jump to conclusions. She asked questions gently. Towanda allegedly laughed it off, blaming friends, family, short visits. Nothing serious. Nothing worth worrying about. And for a while, Tamar chose to believe her. That belief shattered the night Tamar allegedly received a screenshot that made her stomach drop. A short-term rental listing. Photos that looked disturbingly familiar. The same couch. The same kitchen. The same front porch Tamar had paid for. And a price tag attached to it. Per night. According to dramatized insider accounts, Tamar initially assumed it was fake. A scam. Someone using stock photos. Until she noticed a detail no stranger would know. A small mark on the wall. A throw pillow she personally picked out. What happened next is where the story takes a turn from quiet disappointment to calculated fury. Tamar didn't confront Towanda immediately. She watched. She waited. She had someone she trusted attempt to book the property. The confirmation came back fast. Availability. Rates. Instructions. And allegedly, payment details that didn't include Tamar anywhere. That's when something inside her snapped. To Tamar, this wasn't just about money. It was about being played. About giving someone shelter, and finding out they'd turned it into a side hustle while still crying broke. According to sources close to Tamar, she felt humiliated. Used. Like an ATM with a heart that everyone expected to keep dispensing grace without limits. And the worst part? Towanda never told her. Not once. The confrontation, when it finally happened, was explosive. Raised voices. Accusations flying. Towanda allegedly defended herself, saying she needed the money and didn't think it was a big deal. Tamar heard something else entirely. Entitlement. No apology. No accountability. Just justification. And in that moment, Tamar reportedly realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a pattern. What Towanda didn't know was that Tamar had already made a decision. Quietly. Strategically. Without theatrics. She contacted her attorneys. Reviewed the paperwork. Confirmed what she already knew. The deed was never in Towanda's name. The house was never legally hers. And that realization didn't bring Tamar relief. It brought her resolve. According to dramatized reports, Tamar gave one final warning. Stop renting the house. Respect the boundary. Or this ends. Towanda allegedly dismissed it, believing Tamar would never go through with it. After all, she never had before. That miscalculation would cost her everything. The legal process moved fast. Property management was notified. Tenants were cleared. Locks were scheduled to be changed. Tamar stayed silent publicly, letting the paperwork do the talking. And when the day came, it didn't arrive with a family meeting or a phone call. It arrived with a certified notice taped to the door. Witnesses claim Towanda's reaction was immediate and devastating. Crying. Shaking. Calling her sisters one by one. No answers. Family members had allegedly been warned not to intervene. This time, Tamar wasn't backing down. A neighbor's phone captured a moment no one was prepared to see. Towanda standing in the driveway, suitcase at her feet, voice breaking as she repeated the same sentence over and over. I can't believe she did this to me. Within hours, the clip was everywhere. Twitter erupted. Blogs ran with it. Fans split down the middle. Some called Tamar heartless. Others called her brave. Old episodes of Braxton family values resurfaced, reframed with new meaning. Scenes where Tamar cried. Scenes where Towanda minimized her pain. Suddenly, history looked different. Behind the scenes, the fallout was even worse. Towanda reportedly felt abandoned by the entire family. Tamar felt liberated for the first time in years. And the house, once a symbol of sisterhood, had become a weapon that exposed everything broken between them. But this was only the first explosion. Because what Tamar allegedly uncovered next would turn this family feud into a full-scale. Tamar, according to insiders, was watching the internet turn inside out without saying a word. No clapbacks. No tears. No explanations. That silence did something unsettling. It made people assume she had receipts, and lots of them. And then she posted one sentence that flipped the entire tone of the conversation. God told me to give. He didn't tell me to be robbed. That was it. No names. No details. But the message landed like a verdict. Behind the scenes, Towanda was unraveling. Sources say she bounced between hotels and friends' couches, refusing to stay with any family member out of pride and shame. Her phone never stopped ringing, but most of the calls weren't supportive. They were demanding answers. Friends asking what really happened. Associates asking why their names were being dragged into rental rumors. And worst of all, her kids asking why they couldn't go home. That part broke her. According to multiple dramatized accounts, Towanda had told her children the house was hers. That Auntie Tamar just helped a little. When the sheriff and property manager showed up to finalize the lock change, that illusion shattered instantly. One insider claims one of the kids cried uncontrollably, asking if they were being punished. Towanda reportedly had no answer. Meanwhile, Tamar's camp stayed ice cold. Legal experts began weighing in online, explaining how clean the paperwork was. No deed transfer. No lease. No tenant rights. Everything done by the book. And then another bomb dropped. A source claiming access to security footage alleged Tamar's team had proof of over 20 separate short-term rentals in a single year, totaling nearly $18,000. Untaxed. Unreported. And done without Tamar's knowledge. That revelation flipped public opinion hard. Influencers who initially dragged Tamar deleted videos. Commentators issued quiet corrections. The conversation shifted from how could Tamar do this to how long was Towanda doing this. Old clips resurfaced showing Towanda downplaying Tamar's emotions, mocking her sensitivity, dismissing her pain during family therapy sessions. Suddenly, fans saw a pattern they couldn't unsee. Towanda tried to regain control of the narrative. Inspirational quotes flooded her Instagram. Smiling photos with her kids. Vague captions about resilience and faith. But the comments were brutal. People demanded accountability. Others asked directly if she rented the house. She didn't answer. That silence, unlike Tamar's, felt evasive. Family dynamics deteriorated fast. Trina allegedly unfollowed both sisters. Tony stayed silent, reportedly telling people she wasn't getting involved in foolishness. Evelyn, the family matriarch, finally spoke and stunned everyone. Instead of defending Towanda, she allegedly told her, "You knew this was coming. You just didn't think she'd do it." That line reportedly sent Towanda into a deeper spiral. The one person she expected to soften the blow had refused to cushion it. And Tamar. She glowed in the quiet. Friends described her as calm, grounded, almost unrecognizable from the woman fans remembered breaking down on television. She posted a short meditation video with the caption, "Peace is expensive. I stopped offering discounts." The internet lost its mind. Support poured in from women sharing stories of being used by family, of being guilt into silence, of finally choosing themselves. But not everyone was done stirring the pot. A small but loud group launched a Justice for Towanda campaign, accusing Tamar of cruelty and classism. They argued family shouldn't evict family. The backlash was swift. "Receipts don't care about feelings," one viral tweet read. Another said, "She gave her a home, not a hustle." The hashtag died within hours. Behind the scenes, Towanda reportedly floated the idea of legal action for emotional distress. Legal analysts shut that down almost immediately. Without ownership or a formal agreement, there was no case. Tamar's paperwork was airtight. And Tamar's team allegedly made it clear, if Towanda went public with lies, the receipts would go public too. Texts, bank records, rental logs, everything. That threat changed the energy completely. Towanda stopped posting. Friends say she was preparing to go live, but kept backing out, terrified she'd say something that would trigger Tamar to release everything. The power dynamic had fully reversed. For the first time in their relationship, Tamar wasn't reacting. She was controlling the board. Then came the detail that made this feud personal in a way nobody expected. According to a bombshell insider claim, Tamar didn't catch Towanda by accident. She suspected for months. And to confirm it, she had someone she once dated anonymously book a stay at the house. A man Towanda knew very well. When that confirmation came back, Tamar felt something break beyond repair. That wasn't survival. That was disrespect. Friends begged Tamar to meet with Towanda one last time. To talk. To find closure. Tamar allegedly refused. Closure is overrated. I have proof. That's enough. And with that, she shut the door completely. Towanda, meanwhile, was telling mutual contacts a very different story. She claimed she improved the house. That she made it livable. That Tamar barely used it anyway. When that comment allegedly reached Tamar, it sealed everything. Gratitude vanished. So did mercy. Now the family is split in a way that feels permanent. Quiet sides chosen. Invitations rescinded. Group chats abandoned. And while Tamar has reclaimed her peace, Towanda is facing the reality of losing not just a house, but the safety net she believed would always be there. But the most dangerous moment hasn't happened yet. Because insiders say Towanda is still considering telling her truth publicly. And if she does, Tamar isn't planning to stay silent anymore. The receipts are ready. The documents are organized. And the next move could burn what's left of this family to the ground. By the time the dust settled, it became painfully clear this wasn't just a sisterly fallout. It was a power shift years in the making, and the final stage was unfolding quietly, dangerously, and with no room for reconciliation. In this dramatized, gossip-fueled account, sources say Towanda hit a wall harder than anyone realized once she understood Tamar wasn't bluffing. This wasn't a phase. This wasn't Tamar cooling off. This was a door permanently closed. Behind the scenes, Towanda's emotional state reportedly deteriorated fast. Friends described her as inconsolable one minute, furious the next. Crying jags turned into angry rants. Late-night calls turned into silence. She allegedly felt stripped of more than shelter. She felt exposed. Because the house wasn't just a place to live. It was her proof that someone still had her back. And once it was gone, everything else felt uncertain. Insiders claim Towanda began reaching out to anyone who might help her regain control of the narrative. Old producers. Bloggers she'd once confided in. Even distant industry contacts. But no one wanted to touch it. Not because they didn't care, because they were scared. Scared that Tamar really did have receipts that could turn sympathy into scandal overnight. Screenshots. Bank deposits. Messages that painted a very different picture than the crying driveway video ever could. Tamar, meanwhile, remained disturbingly composed. Friends say she wasn't celebrating. She wasn't gloating. She was done. Years of being labeled the dramatic one, the unstable one, the difficult sister had hardened into clarity. She wasn't explaining herself anymore. She wasn't negotiating. What fans don't know is just how deep Tamar's documentation goes. Sources claim she kept records for years. Texts asking for help. Excuses that didn't line up. Claims of repairs that were never made. Even timestamps showing rental activity overlapping with calls for emergency assistance. Tamar didn't collect receipts out of spite. She did it out of survival. Because every time she tried to set a boundary before, she was told she was overreacting. And now, that history is rewriting itself in public perception. Old footage hits differently. Old arguments look one-sided. Old labels don't stick anymore. Tamar isn't the problem child in this chapter. She's the one who finally stopped bleeding quietly. Towanda, on the other hand, is standing at a crossroads. Insiders say she's been advised to either fully own her actions, or disappear for a while. But pride is a dangerous thing. And the urge to reclaim dignity publicly is growing stronger by the day. Friends worry that if she goes live, emotion will override strategy. And once words are out, Tamar won't protect her anymore. The family dynamic may never recover. Trina's silence feels permanent. Tony's distance feels intentional. Evelyn's disappointment hangs heavy. The Braxton name, once a symbol of unity through chaos, now feels fractured beyond repair. This house wasn't just a roof. It was the last illusion holding everything together. And here's the part that makes insiders uneasy. Tamar isn't done setting boundaries. Sources claim there are other financial ties being quietly reviewed. Other favors being re-evaluated. Other lines being drawn. This wasn't a one-time stand. It was a declaration. Towanda may try to rewrite history. She may try to regain sympathy. She may even try to force a reconciliation in the public eye. But according to those closest to Tamar, there's no going back. "You don't get access to me after you use me," she allegedly told a friend. And that sentence says everything. Because when family betrayal reaches this level, it stops being about forgiveness. It becomes about protection. And the next move, whether it's a live video, leaked messages, or full receipts, could permanently destroy whatever is left. The question now isn't who was right. It's who speaks next. And when that happens, this saga won't just be messy. It will be irreversible. If you're still watching right now, understand this clearly. You're standing in the middle of a story that is not finished, not resolved, and not done detonating. What we've just witnessed isn't closure, it's the calm before the next emotional explosion. These are the moments where silence becomes strategy, where one post, one live video, or one leaked receipt can flip the entire narrative overnight. And if you look away now, you'll miss the exact moment everything changes. This is the kind of saga where loyalty gets tested, truths get exposed, and reputations don't recover quietly. If Towanda decides to speak, it will be raw. If Tamar decides to respond, it will be final. And when that happens, the internet won't pause to catch you up. It will move on without you. That's why you need to be locked in right now. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is far from over. Was Tamar right for drawing a hard line, or did she go too far? Is Towanda owning her mistakes, or still playing the victim? The comments are where this story continues to unfold in real time. Hit like, because it pushes this story where it belongs, in front of everyone pretending not to watch. Subscribe, because the next update won't come with a warning, and when it drops, you'll want to hear it first. Turn on notifications, because the next move could come at any moment. This isn't just drama. It's a reckoning. And it's not done yet.